Welcome to Firearms of America. Today, as you guys can see, I have another pair of Bates boots for review, and these are Bates. Cool name, Cobra. Currently $144 on Amazon. The link is in the description below. Overall, pretty good boot, pretty comfortable, fairly lightweight. Overall, I do like it. So if you do have time to watch the whole review, let's get into it. As some of you already know, this review is specifically for my Ultimate Survival boots section. Yes, basically, if this wasn't just your regular tactical military boot that you use for training, you use for you know, whatever situations, but something bad happened, and obviously this is a combat boot, so most likely you will be in the survival situation if you were wearing this boot, and you had to run for miles, you had to fight, you had to climb, you had to do all of these things to survive. You had to wear this boot without taking them off for days. Would these be good to surviving? Would they contribute to your survival, or would they contribute to your death? So let's find out. How do we make the judgment? We make the judgment based on 8 different criteria. Let's begin. Criteria number 1, of course, the comfort level. And in order to test the comfort level of all the boots that I review on this channel, I do a 3-mile run non-stop, and then a 5-mile walk, again non-stop, and then I continue wearing the boots so that the total wear time is about 8 hours. Alright, like I said, overall the comfort level is pretty good. There are a few factors that contribute to this comfort level. Let's start with the very first one, the weight. Now, I have not weighted them before, so I don't know how heavy they are, but like I said, overall they feel fairly lightweight. Let's see if that's the case. 22.5. Now overall for a boot this size is definitely not that bad. 22.5. Definitely a little bit on the heavier side overall, because I always say in all my reviews, if you are looking for a lightweight boot, you're looking for something that is under 20 ounce. The more under 20 ounce it is, the lighter it feels. The more over 20 ounce, the heavier it feels. Not that bad, only about not about a 2.5 ounce over that 20 ounce mark, but still definitely a little bit on the heavier side. Keep that in mind. There are a few other things that contribute and take away from the comfort level. The second one is the flexibility of the bottom sole, of course, and here, as you can see, the bottom sole is very, very flexible. I'm very happy with this bottom sole. It definitely allows you to run properly in this boot without putting too much stress on your ankles, on your knees, so definitely pretty good. Let's get into the inner sole now. Let's try to take it out and see what we got, see if it's any good. Now here is very interesting. First of all, the inner sole, as you can see, is kind of interesting, but we will get into it a little bit, because there's another layer, as you can see down there, kind of looks like a bee wax or whatever, and it is a second inner sole which is also removable. Check this out. Now, you haven't seen anything like that before, have you? Now once you remove the second one, it goes straight into the hard rubber outsole. Just keep that in mind. But this is it's definitely on the harder side, but it does have some cushioning to it. Very interesting. Now, I have personally never seen anything like that before, double inner sole, but here you go. You have a double inner sole here. Definitely helps very nicely with the impact. Now, the very first one is very nice and jelly. This one is a little bit harder, but the second one is nice and jelly. It has a nice heel bed to it, a nice arch support over here, and extra cushioning here at the very front too. So Bates did a great job with the inner soles here. Excellent job overall. Whenever you're running, all of this definitely helps you with the impact, especially if you get tired and start running improperly. This all definitely helps taking on the impact. Now, of course, the boot itself, there's some padding on the tongue, padding on the in the shaft, which I do like. It adds up to the comfort level. The inside of the toe box, there is no padding or anything like that on the inside, so keep that in mind. You're gonna need some nice thick socks to kind of give you some cushioning on the inside. But overall, the comfort level of the boot is very, very good. So Bates did a great job whenever it comes to the comfort. But let's move on to the criteria number 2, which is the proofing and protection. Now we have the toe box, which is reinforced. Now it's not a composite toe or steel toe, it's still soft, so anything that drops on your foot over 10 pounds, you're definitely gonna feel it. But it's still reinforced, so you do have some protection from over there. Of course, all this padding in the shaft adds up to the protection for your ankles. Of course, you do have reinforced heel as well, and the bottom sole is fairly thick, so you do have some protection from the bottom as well. Overall, on the protection side, is pretty good. Now, proofing wise, these are not waterproof. You do have the vents, the drainage vents that add up to the breathability, so pretty good. Overall, it's not that bad. It's really comes down to what you're looking for, but most of the times the combat boots, the military boots, you do get them that are in a non-waterproof version, because most of the times whenever it comes to the military training, you do have some submerging into the water, so the water gets in. It doesn't really matter if it's waterproof or not, the water still gets in from the top because you get into the water. The important part is that your boot dries up quickly after you get out of the water, so all of these vents, all of these drainage vents definitely do help with that. So let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, quality wise, Bates, it's a tough love with Bates with me. Sometimes I get stuff that is great, sometimes I get stuff that is like that, which is pretty good, and sometimes I get stuff and I'm so disappointed and I have a lot of complaints about. So it's hit and miss with Bates. Now, these particular ones, if you click the link in the description below, they have currently 4 stars, over 220 ratings, so pretty decent. Honestly, I think they deserve a little bit more than that. I think they deserve about 4.5 stars on Amazon, especially compared to some other boots, especially compared to some other freaking Bates boots that are rated better than these, which is freaking weird. I don't get it, but anyway. So honestly, personally, I think these are pretty good overall. Now, whenever it comes to the design features, here I talk about the lacing system, and lacing system here is very, very basic. It's all the same close hooks, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 pairs of close hooks. Obviously, because there is no side zip, it's fairly tough to put these boots on and take them off. Takes kind of forever. Keep that in mind. But this is typical with the military tactical combat boots that do not have the side zip. This is just what you should be expecting. Let's move on to the criteria number 4 now, the outsole traction and stability, another very, very important one. And in order to test the outsole, I do whenever I do my runs and my walk, I do it on a variety of different surfaces, starting from some older asphalt, some newer tarmac, then some sand, dry sand, wet sand, grass, dry grass, wet grass, some trail surface, some rocky road, and then getting into some concrete, and then some flat, shiny surfaces, all right, like marble and tile. Now, this performs pretty good on pretty much everything. Now, it is on a flatter side. Some of the grooves, like these ones, are pretty aggressive, but there are not a lot of them. Keep that in mind. So on the wet grass, they're a little bit slippery. A little bit. Not a lot, but definitely slippery. Now, however, overall, the flatness of this surface of this outsole performs very, very well on stuff, on the sandy stuff. Both wet sand and dry sand, they perform excellent. On the rocky road, they perform pretty good. On the grass, dry grass, they perform very good. And on the flat, shiny surfaces, they perform fairly well. Now, these are slip resistant, oil resistant. Honestly, I don't really see much. I think it's these little tiny grooves right here on these barely noticeable, but there isn't much to it. I think Bates could have done a little bit better job whenever it comes to the slip resistance on the flat surfaces, but they didn't. I think they could have done a better job with the aggression as well to help with stuff on like wet grass. And also, I think they could have done some ridges on the sides here for climbing the rope, which, I mean, you will be freaking doing in your military training. That's what you're getting this boot for, most likely. I don't know why they didn't implement ridges here, but Could have been a better outsole. It's not bad. It's pretty decent, but it could have been better. Keep that in mind. Let's move on to the criteria number 5 now, the temperature. Now, these are not in any way winter boots. Keep that in mind. Definitely not winter boots. So these are for a hot weather, and in the hot weather they perform pretty good. My feet did not overheat. All these vents, they add up to the breathability overall, so pretty good. Let's move on to the criteria number 6 now, the sizing. Now, sizing, these are definitely true to the size. I always recommend getting half a size bigger than your normal shoe size for your boots, so you have a little bit of extra space in the toe box. Especially important in boots like these, where the toe box is reinforced and it's hard from the inside. You want to have a little bit of extra space. Let's move on to the criteria number 7 of the balance of application. So if this really were your ultimate survival boots, would they be good for your survival? Well, overall, I think they are pretty good. Overall, they're not too heavy. They're not on the too much of a heavier side. The comfort level is pretty good overall. The water drainage system is pretty decent. The breathability is pretty good. The outsole is pretty decent. Could have been better, but for sandy surfaces, this is excellent outsole. So overall, I think this is a pretty good boot. And moving on to the criteria number 8, which is the price, $144. I think definitely reasonable price. A little bit on the pricier side, but still I think a reasonable price for everything that these boots do offer. Now, is there a competition in that price range? Yeah, there is some serious competition in that price range. There is, just within the Bates. From Bates, there's some pretty good stuff in that price range. There's some really good stuff from the Nair, like the Nair Tanicus or the Nair Tachyon. They're both in the same price range. There's some pretty good stuff from Under Armour. There's some pretty good stuff from Salomon. Similar price range, a little bit more on the expensive side. But keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff out there. Check it out. I do have some reviews on this channel, so if you want to watch some more stuff, make sure to check it out. And if you do decide to buy this boot, please consider buying it through the link in the description below. You're not going to be charged anything extra, but I do get a little bit of a percentage from Amazon for sharing the affiliate link. So that's kind of a nice way of you to say thank you for the review. And thank you very much, guys, for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this boot? What do you think about this review? Thank you for your time. This was Firearms of America. I'll see you guys in the next video.